The news at 10. Federal government approves $8.5 million for restoration of degraded forests in the country. Court fixes date to deliver judgment on suit seeking removal of APC National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje. Rivers Assembly set to challenge appellate court verdict on assembly crisis. Lagos State and Netherlands governments sign letter of intent on effective e-waste management. On the foreign scene, Hurricane Burley hits hard on the coast of Mexico.
The federal government has approved $8.5 million under the Presidential Initiative on Afforestation for the afforestation and restoration of degraded forests and other critical landscapes across the country. President Bola Tinubu disclosed this at the first International Conference on Afforestation and Reforestation, which took place in Congo. Tinubu, who was represented by Minister of Environment Balarabe Lawal, said the presidential approval is in addition to other similar programs like the Great Green Wall Pan-African Program and Agroclimatic Resilience Semi-Arid Landscape being implemented and have resulted in the restoration of over 1.5 million hectares of degraded forest. He said over 1,428.9 kilometers of shelter belts covering 4,286 hectares have been established. The president added that more than 200,000 forest community members have been empowered and more than 3 million jobs created for the youths. He said relevant policy and legislative framework have been strengthened in response to the current and emerging circumstances the nation is faced with. Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for a significant shift from dependence on oil to other critical sectors with attractive investment returns in Nigeria. He identified agriculture, manufacturing, renewable energy and digital innovation, among other sectors, as potential investment grounds to explore, saying they align with the nation's development priorities outlined in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. The Vice President who stated this during the existing Foreign Direct Investors Roundtable at the Banquet Hall of the Presidential Villa Abuja noted that the 8-point agenda of the renewed Hope administration of President Bola Tinubu signals diverse avenues for investment from agriculture to renewable energy.
The life of every economy is defined by the volume of investments it accommodates and attracts. Investments are the lifeblood that fuel innovation, drive growth and create opportunities for prosperity. Today, as we gather for this roundtable with our esteemed foreign direct investors, we celebrate not just the capital that flows into our nation, but the confidence, trust, and partnerships that these investments represent. Nigeria has not only been a place of promise, but also consistently an incubator of ideas. This inherent potential must be harnessed by utilizing our abundant resources and strategic position as a gateway to Africa's largest consumer market of 230 million people and projected to be the third most populous nation on earth by 2050.
Vice President Shettima assured the investors and other development partners of a business environment that is characterized by transparency, accountability, and regulatory certainty. The VP observed that with the non-oil sector contributing 93.62% in Nigeria's GDP in the first quarter of 2024, it is imperative to explore other critical sectors of the nation's economy. The Rivers State House of Assembly, led by Victor Okojumbo, has said it will challenge the decision of the appeal court on the assembly crisis. The Court of Appeal in Abuja had nullified the expulsion of Martin Amewule and 24 others from the Rivers State House of Assembly by the Rivers State High Court. But the Speaker of the group, Victor Okojumbo, in his opening remark during plenary, said that he and his members believe that the appeal court erred in its decision. The lawmakers who met at the temporary chamber at the Government House in Port Harcourt, as pronounced in the executive order by Governor Sim Fubara in December, also considered two bills. Two bills are Rivers State Emergency Management Agency Bill 2024 and Rivers State Transport Reform Bill 2024. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja slated September 18 to deliver its judgment on a suit that is seeking to remove the national chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, from office. The court, presided by Justice Inyang Ekwo, fixed the date after all the parties adopted their final briefs of argument. The suit was brought before the court by aggrieved members of the party under the platform of North Central APC Forum. The plaintiffs, led by one Saleh Zazaga, are querying the propriety of Ganduje's appointment as the chairman of the APC. They, among other things, want the court to restrain Ganduje from further parading himself as the chairman of the party. More so, they prayed the court to issue an order directing the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) not to accord recognition to all actions taken by the APC, including congresses, primaries and nominations, since Ganduje became APC chairman on August 3, 2023. At the resumed proceeding in the matter, counsel to the plaintiffs urged the court to grant all the reliefs by removing Ganduje as the national chairman of the APC. All defendants prayed the court to uphold their preliminary objections and dismiss the suit for want of merit.
The Lagos State government and the Netherlands government have signed a letter of intent on effective e-waste management. At the signing ceremony, the Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources in Lagos, Tokunbo Wahab, who signed the document on behalf of the state government, says the partnership with the Netherlands government is a proactive step in handling e-waste and reducing the impact of climate change.
Signing this letter of intent is also a positive step for us as a state to handle our waste. Because if you handle your waste positively, you are fixing the global ecosystem as per the environment. And municipal waste is key. Electronic waste is key. People are not talking about it. But it's an integral part of the waste system. And I'm glad we're doing a lot of projects with the Netherlands. Harvest waste is taking up a major leg of it for us. That's waste to energy. And now, closing the loop, I've come forward to say we shall take up the electronic waste and convert them to waste.
Management of e-waste cannot be better done than now. We have a lot of them, stockpiled in places. We don't even know what to do with them. And this time, our system is going through a lot of, more like revolution. We transform it, and now we're looking at taking care of our e-waste. I'm sure no state, no subnational in this country would have imagined us going to that level.
The Consular General Netherlands, Michael de Leen, who signed the letter of intent on behalf of his government, says the partnership will create value and wealth from e-waste.
Organized the other day. It was a great honor and a great pleasure to be there because also those things are relevant for us to discuss, to exchange information on best practices and what we do in our countries. But now it's basically about recycling and turning waste into value. As I say, we do so many things with your ministry now that the waste to energy that was signed.
Before now, what happens to our electronic waste? We put them together, ship them out, they convert them to value, bring them into sell for us. We get nothing out of them. But now they're going to set up an industry for that purpose in Nigeria, in Lagos. That will generate employment. That will generate resources for our people too.
The initiative, which is expected to commence soon, will be implemented by Closing the Loop BV, a social enterprise firm. As the commercial nerve center of Nigeria, Lagos is faced with a perennial problem of trading activities on walkways, road verges, medians, setbacks, drainages, pedestrian bridges, and even on main roads. Many of the infrastructure provided by the state government have suffered tremendous abuse from users, leading to environmental degradation such as air and noise pollution, encroachment on green spaces and natural habitats, increase in waste generation, and traffic congestion.
Many people are illiterate, so not everyone are exposed. The way you do things in your house is how you actually going to, is how you're going to do it outside.
Most of people doesn't know this is our money. They thought this money is government money. It's never a government money. It's your money.
Government have put some of these things in place for our own advantage for us to use. But you see somebody who came from one remote village, in the name of touting and everything, they start destroying because they don't understand the right use of all these things. So normally, it's not everybody that is meant to be in Lagos.
The Lagos State government has continuously warned against the abuse of these infrastructure and in many cases arrested and prosecuted violators, but many have remained deviant.
Some people, there's nothing you do to them. They don't feel it, they don't reason. So when you know that when you throw things around in public places or you destroy government properties, there are penalties. I think people will sit up and you begin to see that the environment begins to get better.
There has to be an orientation, daily orientation. If you go to a developed world, you see in the streets, even in the road, every corner, they give daily orientation to people because we are born to learn every day.
We do find them a lot of time. For the first offender on street trading and other of that environmental law of 2017, we do find them, for the first offender, we find them 30,000 naira and 3 months imprisonment. Or we do, for the second one, we do 50,000, also 3 months imprisonment. But the third one is 90,000 with 6 months imprisonment. And let me reassure the citizen that it is not about revenue. It's about good behavior. It's about safety of other people. It's about keeping the environment clean.
As the state moves rapidly towards its smart city status, Lagos has no place for activities that causes environmental nuisance.
It is with your hard-earned tax that we do these infrastructural projects. It is with your consent that we do this infrastructure. It is with your help that we do this infrastructure. We have put things in place to make life easier for everybody. It is out of place. When you see something, you must say something. When you see people doing things that are not right, you must be able to call 767 or 112 to help us so that we can stop those people in their track and arrest them.
The government assures of continuous sensitization campaigns against such unwholesome behaviors. It therefore behoves on residents to take ownership of these infrastructure and imbibe the maintenance culture to preserve them for long-term use. Bukola Taylor Cole, LTV News.
One of the strategies Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his team have used to achieve the Greater Lagos Dream is partnering with countries, organizations, voluntary organizations, amongst other laudable approach. These countries and organizations have over the years paid courtesy visits to the governor to make their intentions known and how they can partner the state for further development. Paying a courtesy visit to the governor are members of the board and management of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group and the Lagos Business School. Leader of the delegation, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Dr. Tayo Aduloju, assures of greater collaboration for developmental strides with government.
It's important that whilst our work, which has been predominantly federal and national based, we think that in the next few years we should see some of the work become more deeply embedded in how we support the state.
Representing the governor, his deputy, Dr. Obafemi Amzat, is challenging the group to champion the conversation about greater interactions among states, which he believes will develop the nation.
Lagos State cannot separate itself. So what happens in your state, in Ogun State, in Ondo State, in Niger is also important. So, and the influx keeps coming in. So we need help in terms of our interaction with other states, not just federal government. So as we do all these things, and as you know, it's the states that actually have the land, for example, for agriculture. Niger State is about 8% or so of land mass of Nigeria. Lagos is 0.something%. So we need to have bigger interaction, and I think organizations like yours can actually lead that conversation.
Also visiting the governor are members of the Corporate Affairs Commission.
I want to see without any fear of contradiction that Lagos State is setting the pace in promoting ease of doing business in Nigeria. which underscores the thriving existence of multinational companies in the city.
The governor, through his deputy, encourages the CAC to embark on more enlightenment to disabuse the minds of citizens about the perceived cumbersome process of registering businesses.
I'm sure we'll be able to collaborate, but we must find a way to ease it for them, because as you know, some of the challenges is people say it takes time. Then a lot of people don't even know what it takes to register companies. They don't know.
The meeting did not end without the governor's assurance that government will continue to nurture all businesses to optimum growth. Olubukola Akin Kolusho, LTV News.
Access to accurate information on family planning is crucial for individuals and families to make informed decisions about their reproductive health. During a visit to Lagos Television, representatives of the Development Communication Network underscores the critical role of reliable family planning information in fostering healthier communities to improve economic stability. The visit unveils insightful discussions on the importance of accessible family planning information.
And we are using media as a means to disseminate information, correct information about family planning. And you know, if you don't, like people will come and say that if you don't know, you don't know. And we know that there are a lot of misinformation, myths and misconception about family planning. So those are the things that TCI and DEFCON, they are coming together to give people quality information about family planning, accountability on the part of government to continue release on commodity security.
General Manager of the state-owned television station, Adeshola Kosoko, while assuring of continuous collaboration, presents some demands and also urges the visitors to leverage on the station's platform to promote accurate information on family planning, especially to the grassroots.
Television caters for the greater percentage of the people at the grassroots. A lot of the other TV stations are either on pay TV, which means if you cannot afford subscription, you cannot watch. So it reduces the level at which the information goes out. But with us, our terrestrial and our social media platforms, and then we also disseminate information in almost all the languages. It's not just in English. We have Ogu, we have Yoruba, we do Pidgin, we do a bit of, we have Ekwe, which is Igbo. We do Hausa as well.
We know that LTV have a lot of health programs. We can key into that. There are information also that we can even give LTV to help to disseminate. And thank God that LTV runs languages, Egun, Hausa, Igbo, because there are some cases that we have discovered in Egun community, Hausa community, that we need to go and give them that information about family planning and child spacing.
The Development Communication Network's visit to Lagos Television serves as a reminder of the power of information in shaping healthier and more economically stable communities. Their efforts to promote reliable family planning information through Lagos Television is vital in ensuring that individuals can make informed decisions that positively impact their lives.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has assured Nigerians and key players in the beauty industry of quality steel production. Acting Executive Vice Chairman of the Commission, Adamu Abdullahi, said this when he led a delegation to 3 steel manufacturing firms in Ogun State. Says the Commission got intelligence and required this visit to check the quality of products being produced by these firms.
There is false, misleading and deceptive as well as unfair market practices. You would go into the market to buy an iron rod of 12 mm, for instance. When they produce, what you get is 10, not 12. And this is what is the main reason that leads to all these building collapses that we have in the country. So we're talking here about the issue of safety of our people. And that is one of the core essences of consumer protection. We have to ensure the safety of our own population. And what is happening in that building space so far is something that has not been palatable, is something that has been so worrisome, to government and indeed to all well-meaning citizens of this country. So we have to look at their processes and find out if they are cutting any corners. And if they are, of course, we apply the full sanction, full wrath of the law.
He emphasized that the FCCPC is on a fact-finding mission and the information gathered will help it analyze the collected samples to ensure that they are in line with the expected quality as claimed by these manufacturers.
When you gather the information, you now have to go back to the office and the work of the forensic experts to look at the information that you have brought out. You put in the keywords that you are looking out for, and whatever you can find out from all the retinue of material that you have taken out from here is now what will now guide your findings, and based on that, you now know how you are going to conclude. You know the conclusions.
The commission visited African Funders Limited, Ugijo, the Monarch Steel Mill Limited, Shagamu, and the Cam Steel Integrated Company, Shagamu, all in Ogun State.
Security expert in food chain supply Adebayo Adeleke has called on youths to get involved in agriculture so as to curb the shortage of food in Nigeria. Speaking during a one-day intensive workshop on creating change and solving problems in food security, Adeleke said it is imperative that youths are encouraged to invest their time and energy in agriculture. Adeleke expressed grave concerns on acute food security in Africa, stating his readiness to take the bull by the horn through his initiative, the Nigeria Food Security Project. He noted that what Nigeria is experiencing is not only due to inadequate attention given to agriculture, but due to other factors which was brought into the front burner at the workshop held at the University of Abuja.
A couple of organizations I'm dealing with here and also overseas as well. So our effort is to be able to shine some light on the thematic areas that are affecting food security in the country, and let people with solutions come around and give solutions as well. Everyone can't do everything.
Adeleke revealed plans to organize a crusade across the country to combat food insecurity, adding that the workshop will continue in other tertiary institutions.
Bring the fight to the students over each of these. They need to understand they understand that they're also part of the fight. There's a lot in the agricultural value chain. That a lot of them is either buyers, better aggregators and whatnot. We need every hand. If they're attracted to farming, absolutely yes. There's a lot of people that have the affinity for farming, and a lot of them, they're just buyers, and they use tech and all those kind of things. So we're to be able to educate them on ways ahead. Like, everyone has a part to play.
Participants at the workshop believes that multi-pronged approach to the issues of food insecurity will also help the country to address unemployment and for youths to embrace agriculture with mechanized farming and deployment of technology.
With the innovations in technology, there are technologies where you don't have to do manual work anymore. You don't have to use crude tools anymore. There are drones that you can use to control pesticide and all that in agriculture. So there is very much opportunity. Like the gap is there, like the space is there for the youth to actually step into.
And actually start agriculture by yourself. You can develop yourself. It's something that, as a student, as a young person, my advice is I feel you should go into agriculture.
Beyond agriculture means that you are solving insecurity when immediately you have food on the table of people and they are food secure. With the level of insecurity in that nation will go down.
According to research, Nigeria is expected to see about 26.5 million people grappling with high levels of food insecurity. The youth must play an active role in mitigating the problems.
A hurricane which has wreaked havoc across the Caribbean has hit Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Hurricane Beryl, classed as Category 2, lashed the region's coastline on Friday morning, endangering 2 million people and the tourist hotspots of Cancun and Tulum. Beaches are closed and thousands of troops have been deployed to help as the storm hits the country's southeast shoreline. The U.S. National Hurricane Center warned people in the area to shelter from the life-threatening conditions the hurricane will bring over the course of the day. Across the Caribbean, at least 10 people are known to have died and more are missing. Rooftops have been torn from buildings and thousands of homes were left without power. Mexican authorities have taken measures to prepare the coastline for the hurricane. More than 8,000 troops from the Army, Air Force and the National Guard have been deployed in the Yucatan Peninsula to provide support.
And that's the news at 10. For more news, connect with Lagos Television on these social media platforms.